There you go.
One.
That shared too.
Not yet.
Where's Joe? Oh, Joe.
So I only printed out the agenda for everyone. There's gonna be more information presented. So we don't have all of it. It is available. It will be available on the website though, and Katie will get into that.
There may be some more people that want the paper applications. Not immediately, but just.
We can do it before everyone leaves, yeah.
Sorry, no.
I'll just.
Actually, my foot. Yeah. Your foot. You can hear it on the table. I recognize it. Sure. No, they can do it.
No, I think she said something else.
She had answers. What is this?
Timelines are down, they're all up that way.
What?
I said I put in all
Okay.
that stuff, it's all up that way. All right. Welcome, thank you all for being here. My name is Kate Jones, I'm Economic Development, Equity and Strategic Communications for the city of Ypsilanti. Mateo, you want to introduce yourself?
Mateo Paslock with Carlisle Workman Associates. We are the planning firm that the city's working with on the Water Street site.
That's right, I told you to use the microphones and then I didn't do it. Welcome and thank you all for being here. Do we want to take a minute and Steve, you want to introduce yourself and then Amber?
Sure. My name's Steve Wilcoxon. I'm a city council member from Ward 2.
From Ward 2.
I'm just taking a head count. I won't know.
And is Amber in the room still?
You should go down that door.
Okay, I'll look. And there's no other city council folks here, right? Joe, do you want to introduce yourself too, again, or?
Joe Myers, the Director of Community Services.
So we're gonna run through some information just about Water Street, about the, what this community composition will look like and what, the purpose of the committee is, and then we'll also go over a timeline, then we'll open it up for a bunch of questions and community discussions. And we'll move the microphone over to there so that you guys can all be recorded, for anybody attending on Zoom. And then, yeah, that's kind of how the evening will go. The application, if you're interested in being on the committee, is in the hard copy of the packet, and we've printed more, so we can bring those down later too. And then it is available at the city's website, cityofypsilanti.com/Water Street. And I put that up this afternoon, so it's up there now too. So awesome. So committee's purpose is to review the draft of the Water Street RFQ that Carlisle Wortman helped the city to draft, and to identify benefits and ensure that they are included in the RFQ. They will also work with future developers to negotiate community benefits with any selected developer or developers, and make sure that those benefits are included from the original RFQ all the way through a community benefits agreement.
You're in a good place for you. So you gotta fix it, you gotta fix
I specifically invited Mateo here tonight to make sure that he was able to just kind of review some of the community engagement that we've done for the last 6 months or so, and so I'll pass it over to him for that part.
So good evening, Mateo Paslock, Carlisle Workman Associates. So as Katie had mentioned, in November of 24, CDLBUA was brought on to assist the city with the development of a request for qualifications form, as well as help facilitate some of the community engagement around the Water Street site. So after that, we kind of simultaneously started working on the non-community benefits portion of the RFQ, as well as how the community engagement would be structured. So in April and May of 25, we had 3 meetings that revolved around the history of Water Street, kind of an educational meeting regarding brownfields as it relates to the Water Street site, and then the future of Water Street. Some of the things that were discussed was the process under which, the history and the process under which the Water Street sites were purchased and assembled by the city. We looked at some of the initial strategies that were used to develop the site and some of the past proposals that obviously did not come to fruition on the site. We talked about brownfields in general and how they work, but then again, specifically how it relates to the Water Street site. We talked about the cleanup that's taken place at the site over the last 30 years, as well as the cleanup that's taking place now. And utilizing that information, we developed some maps that kind of helped show where the site was going to be cleaner, where further remediation is preferred, but that in the essence that some of the pollutants remained on the site, how that dictate how the site could be developed. Then we looked a little bit about, or we talked about kind of the city's goals with the site and how it relates to improving the site, creating taxable revenue for the city via improvements to the site. We talked about the difference between an RFP and an RFQ. So a request for proposal is more or less that the city has the project designed, where things are to be, what they look like. And you're really just asking for a price, as opposed to an RFQ, which is what we're pursuing, which is a qualification, which is a request for qualifications, which is more or less requesting developers' resumes and assessing whether or not they have the capacity to do the type of project that the city's looking to do, but kind of design it in conjunction with them. And then at that last meeting, we conducted a needs, wants, hopes, and fears analysis. And so really what that looks at is a need is something that the community identifies as a must for the site. If it does not have these things, it should not happen. Wants are more or less, these are things that we would like to see on the site, but if they're not a part of it, that isn't necessarily what, you would refer to as a deal breaker. So after those 3 meetings concluded in May, the city found them very helpful and kind of wanted to dig a little bit deeper on the needs, wants, hopes, and fears of the community for the site. So with that, 4 community meetings, 4 focus group meetings were held in September, 3 in person and 1 virtually. And again, those meetings specifically focused on needs, wants, hopes, and fears for the community. And again, as we kind of discussed, a need is something that the site must have. A want is something that if it does have, that would be great. If it doesn't, it's something that the community could live without. Kind of a summation of what we heard from those hopes and fears. And again, this is a summation. Obviously a lot of data was taken in. People kind of said something in their own way, and we kind of worked our best to group it into categories in which we could present it. But some of the hopes were that it would be a mixed-use development, that the riverfront remained open to the public, that there would be some level of community recreation, either via parks or a recreation center, preservation of open space and trees, space that is accessible for local businesses to rent, as well as affordable housing for residents to occupy. That the site would be an extension of the downtown, that it would kind of build off of the authentic traditional downtown of Ypsilanti and not be kind of, for lack of a better way to say it, stick out like a sore thumb. And that there be some recognition of the site's history as it relates to the indigenous populations in the area. Fears for the site is that it would displace minority populations, again, not having space for local businesses, not having space for local residents, that it would be unaffordable. That the site would continue to sit empty for 5, 10, 15 years, and that it would be fashioned in some form of a suburban style development.
What about the homeless people that live there right now that you're displacing?
That's not, I guess that's part of what the community gave us as far as being disposition, but that's not something that I'm really in a position to discuss.
That's gotta be in consideration though. That's gotta be on the list of everything that, all the fears that you said. What about the people that you're gonna displace that are living there right now?
Well,
That's
so,
be on the list for consideration.
and so, and we'll kind of get into the committee's purpose, but again, what we're looking to do with this committee is to take this foundation of information that was collected and refine it. So this is not the end all be all. This is the foundation that was laid through the process up to this point, and the ad hoc committee's task is really to then turn these into specific criteria that go into the RFQ that then developers who would be interested in partnering with the city can look at prior to, I guess, expending any resources, prior to expending any kind of time, and say, do we have the capacity to make this happen? The community's needs out of this site are here, clear to us. Do we have the ability to make that happen? And the hope is that if we receive qualifications from these developers, that they have read that they have that they do understand it.
Do you know how many people's input you got?
I tell you what, let me finish and we'll do the Q&A. From the needs and wants perspective, for needs, dense mixed-use neighborhood as an extension of downtown, affordable housing, trails, walkability, again, the space along the river remaining public. From wants, it trailed more in recreation, green space, entertainment uses, things of that nature. So after these meetings were completed, the city developed this process under which it would create the ad hoc committee to assist the city further with refining the community benefits for the RFQ. And again, I kind of jumped ahead on it, but using this information as the base, then the ad hoc committee would work over the next couple of months with the city to kind of refine those better. So that's kind of a recap of where we are to date with those efforts. Thank you.
So we also did a real estate panel where we talked with a local banker, an environmental attorney, and a developer, and had them specifically talking kind of about the development process a little bit. Several of the folks that were in the audience at that event were also developers, and so it was an open dialogue about what it takes to develop and where the challenges with an environmentally complicated site, and it just got really into that process. There is an ongoing survey online that kind of covers the same questions that were asked the in-person sessions that were held both in the spring and in the fall. And at this point, we have about 100 people who have taken the survey or attended one of those sessions throughout that time in person. So the committee composition, the committee will be made up of 3 council members. We'll have 6 to 8 appointed city residents, up to 2 non-residents with relevant expertise, ensuring that we have diverse representation. So business owners, I put that in the parentheses because it was one of the ones that was in the legislation. But I'm sure there are other diverse perspectives that we would want to make sure we have. And then it will be approved by the council at the February 17th meeting. The committee timeline. So they will have 6 meetings within 180 days. The intent is for us to release the RFQ in August. Review qualifications. So this committee will also help us review those qualifications that get submitted along with staff, and then take that recommendation to council of what developers to begin to engage with. And then this committee will also after that process, after it goes to council and gets approved to work with the developer or multiple developers, then they will begin to do that community benefits process and to enter into a contract with developers for community benefits. Awesome. So that pretty much concludes the presentation portion of the evening. Similar to other community meetings that we've had like this, we are interested in taking questions from you guys. There are council folks here. Michelle, do you want to take a quick second and say hello to everybody?
So hi, everybody. I'm the Ward 1 council member.
And then, Amber, are you back in the room?
Yeah, hi, Amber Fellows, Ward 3, and I'm excited because this meeting is really set up to be for the public and for the residents, and it's not like a traditional community or city council meeting. So hoping to get a lot of dialogue and participation today.
And then is there any other city council people I didn't see walk in the room, so I don't want to miss anybody? Great. Awesome. So happy for us to answer questions as staff. Carlisle, like I said, there's plenty of city council folks, so we're happy to answer questions that folks might have. We'll move that microphone over here, so folks, I'm not gonna ask questions on the microphone. There's also a microphone. You're fine, so feel free to use whatever you like. But I would like to try and use the microphone, since we do have a Zoom option, it'll be helpful for the folks online.
Hi, do I have to identify myself?
I don't.
It'd be helpful to say your name just so we know who's speaking.
Thanks to the city council for it. My name is Julie Bayham, Ypsilanti Sustainability Commissioner, long-term resident, but also a resident of Washington County for most of my 65 years. And every single time I see a development, see glaring gaps in what was included in decision-making processes. No one person and no one group of marginalized people trying to survive and or just trying to have a decent life can stay up on all of the political issues that need to be dealt with, all the civic issues that need to be, engaged in. But as 2 people said already, and I'm sure they will get up and speak, we do have a real serious problem with homelessness here. And it's not just Ypsilanti homeless people, it's people that have been displaced from the wider community, maybe not even just not having enough room at the Lana shelter in Ann Arbor. Maybe they're from the smaller towns outside of the Ann Arbor Ypsi area that have absolutely no services for people who are housing insecure and or completely homeless and rough housing, rough sleeping. So, I'm aware, I don't have any reason to out anyone for the homelessness they're experiencing. But I know that it's a really hard thing in life. If you haven't been through it, imagine it 10 times worse than you think it is, especially during winter. 10 times worse than you think it is. It's not like it's in the movies. And we don't live in a temperate zone around the equator. So it causes all kinds of costs. And then there's other groups that are maybe housed, but they are also left out. When they close the gates on Riverside Park every winter, a lot of us who can't walk into the park are cut off from ever sitting and looking at the river. They don't think about that when they close the gates. We understand that some days they can't get to, cleaning off the ice or whatever, but it's really an important place for people to restore their mental health, mental emotional well-being. And yet, if you can't walk, you're cut off from the use of the park. I want people to remember all kinds of disabilities when they create new spaces in this town. And hopefully any town, but we're trying to work on this town. I really also feel like the idea of mixed use shouldn't have to be said anymore. When they quote unquote include affordable housing in most mixed development tall rises, and we see this a lot in Ann Arbor, but it's even already starting to creep into how things are done in Ipsy. What they're calling affordable is not affordable to the people who most need the housing. And so when you talk about mixed use, I think people need to learn, study the history of sliding scale fees. And that can range from events you go to that have sliding scales, workshops, rent, payment for services, pay it forward mentality. So those are just three things that I think are often just, three areas I think are often just completely unthought of when there are focus groups or committees that make decisions because those people aren't going through those things.
I'm gonna talk like this. I'm gonna talk to the people in the audience. First of all, shout out to everyone for being here. It's cold out and we made it. My name is Brian. I am about a 10-year Ipsy resident and became a local organizer actually about Water Street in 2017. There was this huge watershed moment when giant gentrification development was proposed for Water Street, and about 100 local organizers came together and managed to shut it down and then expose the corruption behind it. So Water Street has been a very contentious property in Ipsy for a long time, over 20 years. The city bought it with the plans to to sell it to a developer immediately about 10 years ago, and then that developer fell through and it like bankrupted the city. So I just want to say more than anything else that this is our piece of land. We are the public, and this is public land. It does not belong to the government. It belongs to us. It is up to us what we want to do with it. And I think there's a couple things just to name because I don't think they've been said into the mic, but there's the camera won't show you this, but there's a banner in this room that says "Your development is our displacement," referring to people who live on this land. So there's been talk about no matter what happens here, that has to be front of mind because we're talking about people's lives. And I think just another thing I guess I just want to like put into the air is that we live in a place that used to be redlined pretty hard, and there has been massive harm done to the Black community on the south side in Ypsilanti. And I think that when we think about having a place that's kind of like up to the public to decide what happens to it, that community should be also front of mind. And I'm thinking about like what reparative things can happen with Water Street for the for the south side, and people who have been, living in the history of harm, done, for instance, by like the I-94 project that destroyed the black downtown and kind of is a scar on the community. Yeah. Oh, one other thing, there are Nottawasepi burial grounds on the property. So I think that is just like another community that needs to be reached out to immediately, and some of that work has been done, but more needs to be done before the whole community can really decide what happens with this piece of land.
There's an order to these operations up here, but I thought I would take my turn. I have to go to work in a few minutes. So questions. One is, how does the nomination process work? Like, what are we gonna do tonight? Put names in a hat? Or what are we gonna do?
So tonight is mostly about information and giving you guys the information, and then you can fill out the application that's hard copy here. And then, they'll also be available online on the website, and then council will, appoint the folks at the 17th, at the meeting on the 17th, of everything.
Which is very quick, by the way, people.
Yeah, okay, so no nominating tonight.
I like that. So,
We can't hear you unless you talk to a microphone. There's a microphone right there. Thank you. There's a mic right here.
it is in the legislation that we do a straw poll tonight for, for people that are interested. The main purpose of this meeting, besides getting a little information, is to put your hat in the ring for being on this committee. So that's really the main purpose why we're here tonight. And so, if you're interested in being a part of a group of people that will be meeting over the course of 6 months to a year to do visioning together for what is needed for Ypsilanti and also Water Street, and also secure those benefits. It's a big role, and if you have capacity to do it, you should state your interest and why you're interested, so that other members of the community can vote for you in a straw poll tonight, because that is what the purpose of this meeting is.
That's not right.
It is,
That's not right.
it's not how the,
City council is.
That is
Yes,
not
so
right.
let me-
This is not a representation of everybody in the city.
it's not a representation of everyone in the
That
city.
shouldn't have a straw poll.
It was announced to the
It's-
city.
That's not fair.
There was a public announcement.
Excuse me,
That's
excuse me.
not
So
fair.
city council does do the final nomination, but the purpose of a community benefits ordinance and this type of meeting is to get community input into what, council should do. And so for community benefits meetings, there have always been this type of community meeting, and then people speak and there's a straw poll, and that has informed who has gotten on the community benefits meetings. So I encourage you, if you're interested in serving the committee, to announce that and say why you're interested, so that other people can know where you're coming from and potentially support you.
Thanks. Oh, so it sounds like we are gonna do some kind of nominating tonight, and based on what I just heard, I'm interested in being on the committee, and we'll just change my questions into statements. I want to make sure that the homeless people, or the people that are living on Water Street right now, some of whom have been there for many years, waiting for an emergency shelter. I want to make sure that they get represented. I didn't see anything in here. Committee should evaluate, including a whole list of things that are really great for people, everybody else except for the ones living down there, nothing about an emergency shelter. So I want to make sure I'm on that committee, and based on what I've seen as far as the makeup of the committee, we need at least 6 people that are for helping those folks be represented. We need 6 people on this committee. So if you have interest in helping that population down there, please join this committee and make sure that they're represented.
And it might be helpful also, if you're not gonna stay till the end of the meeting, to let us know your name, so that we can make sure and document that, so that we have the right folks.
How many people
that
are
are
gonna be on this
interested.
committee? 6 to 8.
We have 6 to 8 community members.
Yeah, it's in the thing, but it's like 3 council members, 6 to 8 community members, and 2 non-residents. Can you nominate someone else, or can you put in a nomination for someone that's like has to leave right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is if you just say your name so that we can write it down.
Jim Clark, running for the seat on the council. Thank you.
I have a question. So if you're gonna apply online and you're not at this meeting, then you don't have a chance to.
So I think one of the confusions also is that like these meetings, we haven't had such this large of a meeting. And so I think that we'll talk about it tonight and gauge interest tonight, and then the applications will also have to.
Also, the agenda doesn't talk about making nominations.
So unfortunately, I know we should be at a mic, but unfortunately, those rules should have been laid out. I spoke with Andrew, our city manager, earlier today, and he did say it was gonna be some names pulled tonight. I don't know what that means when we're comparing those with the applicant.
So my understanding of the legislation was that we gauge interest tonight and that we take applications, but that it's still going to council.
It's still going to council. And so online applications.
It will still go to council, but people can state their support for, people that are putting their hat in the ring, and that will be considered by council.
We do have one person who's online, and to kind of make sure that everyone gets heard. We have Diane Gonzalez. I'm gonna allow you to speak right now.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity. I just applied online. I've been a resident of this area for 20 years now. I moved in 2006, and a homeowner in Ward 3 for I think now 10 or a little, I don't, somewhere between 10 and 12 years. And I grew up in New York. I lived in Portland. Both desirable places to live for multiple reasons. But I picked Ypsilanti where I wanted to stay. I was trailing spouse, but I picked it because it had the best of both worlds that I had loved about Portland and New York in terms of diversity and equity, a history of social justice and of inclusion. I felt like I belonged here, and that maybe I had a voice, and where most of the places around the country I didn't. And then Portland, in terms of having green spaces and walkability, both New York and Portland. And so all the green spaces in Ipsy mean so much to me, and I have been disabled in the past, and then I have been more uh, able to hike and walk my dogs through the River Street landscape, and those things are really important to me in terms of making Ipsy a really humane place to live and to now grow old, now that I've raised my kids into adulthood. And I would love to be able to walk my dog through there as I age and have a safe and healthy place where I could remain active. And I would also love to see, like Brian mentioned, the inequities of redlining and colonialism and genocide be addressed through by talking to local Ojibwe and all the different populations. And a part of that is also the unhoused and the people who I think all of us are closer, right, to being houseless than and my uncle, who was the only adult male in my life, was houseless at times in his life. And I know that those are our neighbors, and I think it will benefit us in ways that we don't fully understand now if we are a community that really accepts everyone. So I hope to throw my hat in the ring and work toward this, but it's something I'm very passionate about. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
You've worked with Diana Gonzalez. We did volunteering with Girl Scouts together. I support her throwing her hat in the ring. It's Heidi Otto.
I just have a really mundane question.
Just use the mic just so that we.
This is our meeting.
Sorry,
Hi, I'm Susan Santana. I've lived in Ipsy for 30 years. I'm a resident of Ward 2. It's really just a process question. You helpfully stated that RFQ is a developer's resume, so their capacity, their past projects. So putting together the RFQ, you're looking for more specific kinds of questions that relate to these four pillars, the four bottom lines, so to speak. Is that correct?
Well, we want the,
Is a resume, it's fairly obvious what you
Use that
put
one
on.
closer to you.
Thanks.
So what specifically?
So the RFQ will have like there's boilerplate information
Yeah,
in there, but what the ad hoc committee is going to work with is to refine very specific community
Okay.
benefits that are expected from the project. And that'll allow the developer to gauge whether or not they feel as though they have the capacity to
Yeah.
apply.
Okay, thank you.
One quick thing that I think that's important that Michelle just brought up is that we do need an application. So like whether you fill out the hard copy application or whether you do it online after the meeting, we do need an application to be able to consider the nomination. From folks, even through the straw poll, we still need an application to be able to present to council. So just make sure that if you're, even though we're documenting names, to make sure and fill out either that hard copy or the virtual one.
And then Katie, since Jim has already left, it sounds like we need to reach out to
Yeah,
him.
we'll make sure I get one from him too. Yep.
One phone number. You want this one number?
Oh, sure.
I don't know if that's about it. I feel kind of tall at the moment, though. But it's fine. My name's Elka Chamberlain. I don't want to make it worse than beneath my head vibrate. My name's Elka Chamberlain. I'm a Ward 3 resident. I was actually born here. I went to undergrad here and back a couple of years ago. Because I felt like this was a space that we could actually really make a difference from the work that I've been doing. So I was kind of pushed to speak today because I'm not very prepared. Because I've been asked to put my hat in the ring for the committee. I have some concerns. I think that some of you guys are much more eloquent speakers about some of the cultural issues. And I really enjoy listening to some of you guys speak. Because I think you guys have insight that I don't necessarily have when it comes to talking to you guys, but I hear you. I have some concerns. I appreciate the fact that you guys have taken the time to put this committee together and to involve community members. But I was nominated for another committee. And that committee person that was put on the committee, in which I'm not going to mention which committee it is, ended up being another council member. So I feel like we need to make sure that the people that are put on here from the community potentially outnumber council members, are representative of all the wards, and are representative of the diversity in this community. I think that the mixed use has some purposes. We talked about shelters. I have a little list here. I don't think that everything that's been mentioned and everything that's written down here means that nobody's been heard. But however, my biggest concern that I think is a little bit different than a lot of people, if I'm not nominated to be on this committee, is to make sure that people that live in this community are involved, from the development to, when I say the development, I mean designing, building, the spaces, what those buildings look like. Do they have garden space? Do they have walkways? Do they have parks? Do they have balconies that they can enjoy? And what kind of apprenticeships might be available for people so that we can put people to work across the age span and make sure that it's livable for everybody across the age span. And it's really a place that people want to be and live and feel like they're a part of. So I don't know that this is quite enough control from the community. But that's my unwritten.
And you're trying to be on this committee? I was asked to be. I don't mind doing it. I support that.
I support that.
Yes.
My name's Lee Tucson. I lived in the city of Atlanta for 70 years. Graduated Atlanta High School, went to other schools, went to other colleges. But I never left Ypsilanti, never left. And this thing, Water Street, has always been a wrecking spell within me. Because on the onset, when it first came about, we talked about putting people in the community involved. Now, when it first came about, people in the community was not invited to the table that would have made a difference. Ypsilanti here, with this Water Street, when the Sheriff Farmer brought it to the table, myself and a gentleman by the name of Tyrone Wilson, we stood at that back door for many council meetings and let it be known. These are our words. It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. This is what we repeatedly said. It's gonna rain. And then we said, and when it started raining, Cheryl Farmer is gonna pop up her umbrella and she's gonna get out of town. It's raining. It's raining. Now, when we talk about the development, hey, sound good when you say development. You only spell it one way, right? But can it really be developed? Can it be? What process is it in to being developed? Let me show y'all something. 70 years in the city of Ypsilanti. I worked at various places on Water Street. Mr. Bedford, the shop teacher, he would get us jobs 2-3 hours at different places. The old convertible factory, I worked there. And what do we do with all the solvent that we clean the metal with? We poured it in the ground. We poured it in the ground. All right? Survey Motor, I worked there as a porter. All the oils and things that we took out of the cars and antifreeze and all that stuff, where'd it go? It went in the ground. Okay, Leroy's transmission shop was on the corner of Water Street and Michigan Avenue. I worked there doing transmission. All that burnt fluid, where did it go? In the ground. The old iron company, was that was not too much contaminants that we threw in the ground there. But I cannot never believe that this ground would be sufficient for a developer to do anything. Because you know what? It takes more than 20 or 30 years to clean up something that I was part of. But I'm gonna tell you, brother, I was dumping it. I was dumping every job I was on, I was dumping it. The boss said dump it, boom, there it goes. And even there was a landlord. The landlord in the city of Ypsilanti, he's dead now. He died in prison. I think we all know who it was. He did the same thing with junk that he had. He brought it down and dumped it in the ground. So, you know, I just do not believe this thing will ever come to fruition. But all the ideas that we're talking about, the homeless and all that stuff, that was a good idea. But I would never believe that it will become. Matter of fact, Ed was there. Ed was there. Matter of fact, Mr. Charisma was right there when Cheryl dumped the baby on the city. He was right there. So I wish you good luck. That's all I can say. I just wish you good luck. See, but they did not have the right people at the table on the onset. And it has happened so many times. I'm going to give y'all, remember when we did Washington Street between Michigan Avenue and Ferris? You know, the people said, the little guy from Pinckney, he said, oh, we're not going to have any problems. We're not going to have any problems developing that. It's going to be a cruise. It's going to be easy. And I step up to the table and say, man, it ain't gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy, man. My one uncle moved to Michigan in 1921. And he was familiar with the trolley cars. The little trolley cars, remember that track? Trolley cars run up and down Washington Street there. So I didn't see it because it was covered up when I went along. But I told him, I said, no, man, it's some tracks under there. I don't pay Lee Tusa no attention. He don't know. That's my ex-mayor. I don't pay him no attention. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But when they got into the constructed part, they found all them little trolley tracks. And guess what? It knows they had to pay more money now. They had to pay more money to get rid of those tracks that they say wasn't there. If we had, I believe, we wouldn't be to where we are now. If people had been involved on the onset concerning Water Street, look at all the revenue gone. Revenue gone. As a matter of fact, I was the district manager of Ypsilanti Press, the South Side portion. What we used to do, man, you know all that fluid coming off those press machines. They had to go somewhere. Y'all know where it went, don't you? In the ground. And you know what? Webb Coal Company. I tell you, I know about Ypsilanti. Webb Coal Company was a place where people got their coal and they got their oil. He had a 2,000 capacity tank in the ground. And I don't know how long he'd been there. Mr. Webb didn't know how long he'd been there because he took it on some of his folk. And guess what? Man, that thing burst from being rotten. Where did they all go? Hey, man, my belief, I say again, I hope you love, but it will never be in a developing stage. And hey, y'all, don't waste too much money.
He's right. The ground is poisoned. And I know there's people in this room that are committed to fixing that land, that want to see it thrive and be usable and be healthy. I also know there's people living in tents on that poisoned ground that need a 24-hour shelter. I've lived out there in a tent, and I know the city council and the government know the people are living out there on that poison ground in tents because they put up signs saying, get the fuck out, we're gonna develop this land. And I think it's unconscionable to make a committee whose mission is to come up with a proposal or talk to developers, see how you can carve it up. And I don't understand why you'd want business owners on that council. I think there's more than enough community power in Ypsi that wants to make real use of the land and rehabilitate the land. But if you do insist on sticking with the criteria you've set out for this committee, I think Cynthia, I don't know Cynthia's last name. What's Cynthia's last name?
Price.
Cynthia Price, who has been working to put pressure on the county to get people in hotels during this horrific cold freeze. I think she would be a good choice for a non-resident expert.
Hey there, I'm Kat Wheaton. I live in Ward 3. Not really sure who to talk to be honest. Just to let everyone know, homelessness in Washtenaw County has risen dramatically, up 77% since 2022, with 373 people counted on a single night in 2024. Tonight is another pit count. In the middle of the night, people are gonna have to unzip their tent, let out all the heat from their propane tanks to be able to answer an invasive survey that the results do nothing with, but in fact. But also there's been 845 people currently on the wait list for the shelter. So we obviously have, beyond systemic issues, but I think right now I kind of actually want to address you, Mr. Myers. In 2020, I believe you were partially responsible for having the Housing Affordability and Accessibility Subcommittee report taken out of the city's master plan, which in fact could have codified affordable and accessible housing for the city. And so conveniently, about a few months later, y'all accepted a proposal from Avalon Housing to build 206 North Washington Street, which I had the honor of sitting on as a committee member. And that's when I learned a lot of what the negotiation process looks like from a developer that's a nonprofit even. Interesting to even have that concept. But we asked in part of our negotiations that you do put affordable and accessible housing in there because your suggestion to council that they could add it later. It's been 6 years now and it has not been added. And that property is almost developed. So I do hope that we utilize this community benefits ordinance that needs to be reenacted as well, rewritten to be stronger. I do hope that it includes a requirement for local AMI use, because I know that some, actually all federal housing, that is voucher housing, that is affordable housing requires that you use the county's AMI. And just to put some perspective for folks who maybe are not aware, for a single adult in the city of Ypsilanti, the area median income is $41,000 or so, and for the county it's 83. And so if we were to use 60% of that area median income for the county, that would be around 52,294, and that's considered low income. But for the city, for the average Ypsilantian, which we're seeing being displaced regularly, I think I've had like 6 different neighbors in the course of my 8 years of living in the same home because of rising rental costs. For Ypsilanti, the 60% area median income is 26,485. So we're missing our population, and we need to make sure we're including a local AMI requirement. And we need to also be considering the fact that every single February or March, people show up here begging you guys to not trespass people living on Water Street without police. And when there was word that there was mostly a majority white encampment in the historic South Side, all of a sudden the city is asking CMH PATH to come out there. So why the discrepancy in the responses? That's what I want to know. But I do hope that people are given resources and we use that county millage funds, that public safety funds to actually put towards our people, maybe even doing the bathrooms. So having some public restrooms maybe in whatever development would be awesome.
We do have somebody online. Amber, if you want to go, okay. Coach PPE Spoon. PPE Coach Spoon.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Duran Witherspoon Sr. I'm the CEO of Power Peace Enterprises, known as PPE around here in the Ypsilanti 4818, 4819 area code. I am a Ward 1 business owner. I'm a CVIT member for Washtenaw County Community Violence Intervention. I would just like to say I'm 36 years old, and I've been listening to this whole time, what everybody has been saying and stuff like that. And I just want to know, how can my organization get more involved into these conversations where stuff that happened 50 years ago, I don't know anything about. I know it's kind of lack of knowledge or whatever, but I want to know how to go about getting that abandoned dugout on the side of Waterworks Park to make it into a community like epicenter for like underprivileged people who can't play organized sports out here. Now parents can't afford that kind of stuff, and we want to make a community league for ages 7 and all the way up to 65 or whatever. And I also wanted to know how we can get more involved with this committee and learn more stuff about the history of IPSI as an organization. So I am unknowledgeable about the situation, and sorry I'm running late. But I want to know exactly how we can get involved and stop this because that land is poison and I'm out there all the time. And I feel like even if we are able to, in my lifetime, clear people out and clear the debris, like Mr. Tucson was saying, there's so much biohazardous material and stuff out there. Like, I don't think nobody should live under there with a titanium home, you know. So maybe we can try to figure out how to utilize that space more for the long term and not just put a Band-Aid on it or like that one lady just said, somebody had a conversation about something 6 years ago and nothing's came into fruition. Um, I'm a community leader. I don't have to be on no board or nothing like that, but I definitely would like to be more in tune. Um, besides the conversations that's just going on in these once a month or whatever meetings like that. So I don't know who I need to talk to or anything like that, but my organization is to love to be a part of the rehabilitation of Waterworks Park and help whoever else involved as well.
Thank you.
And I guess I'm done, but I also want to know like what's the procedure for someone like addressing this circumstances when like most of the city council members are like under 40 years old and then we talking about stuff that's 60 to 70 years in the making. Like how do we people who are less knowledgeable about the situations that's going on in our own history, because I was born at St. Joe Hospital. I've been here most of my 36 years. Um, I just want to know, like, how can we get more knowledgeable about stuff that we just wouldn't know about trying to Google it or something like that? Like, can we start having a more of like some kind of planning where we can get history on all the different lands out here that's being like abandoned and what reason why they're abandoned?
I will say that for Water Street specifically, on the website, there are 3 different videos. One is the history of Water Street, and so I encourage anybody who wants additional details about Water Street, and how we got to this point. That has a lot of the history, on the website.
Yeah, Amber again. So I just wanted to maybe try to frame this kind of experiment we have a bit because we have precedent for this. There's the community benefits ordinance that has the same structure where we have a large community meeting and people speak up about concerns, questions, and also advocate for certain issues and express interest in serving on community benefits committees. And so that is what is inspiring this meeting. And I just, because some of the comments are kind of more directed towards staff and city council about being accountable to certain community demands like a permanent shelter, which is totally relevant to this. But what I would say is that this meeting is actually to make more of everyone here an agent in our destiny. So it's not that we're just leaving it up to authorities and officials to fix things for us, but we're actually participating in democracy over the future of our lives and destinies of our neighbors. So, you could be on a committee that demanded a shelter at Water Street. That is a possibility. So I just, want to name it that this is a more participatory thing. It's not just advocating to some nameless person above, but you would be the one advocating for the things and securing the benefits. And, it's really important to have these experiments that work towards a purer form of democracy that is just not reliant on a few people kind of fixing everything for us, but we bring in more people so we can work on it together and combine our skills. And so I hope in this meeting that more people speak up to state interest in the committee, especially, people that are underrepresented on these type of committees, Indigenous people, Black people, low income, houseless community, disabled people, renters, tenants, and also people of, special advocacy groups for like environmental concerns. I hope that you, state interest. We really want to encourage that. So if you do come up here, I would say, share a little bit about yourself, why you're interested, any expertise or relevant experience you have in the community. Yeah, this is a significant intervention into like traditional developments. Instead of just having developers give us their pitch and then we kind of try to change it from antagonism in the community, instead we're coming together to do collective visioning And there is this draft RFQ by Carla Wortman that exists, but this committee is doing, it is not just following whatever is on that RFQ. It's going to be developing what we want. And it's going to have, meetings that are public, and we'll have public come out and give input and hopefully talk to relevant stakeholders in the community so that we actually have like a document that people feel good about, that includes shelter or public lands or protected habitats, whatever people want. But you have to participate in order to get that secured, so please do.
Hello, my name is Allison Krieger. I've been in Ypsilanti with my family on Miles Street and now currently on Congress Street. My daughter goes to school here. I've been in the community for a number of years. And I just want to start by saying I'm very intimidated to stand up in front of all of you. So it's a little bit new for me, so please bear with me if my voice shakes a little bit. But on another note, I'm also the reason that we chose to live in this community and raise our family here is because I'm incredibly proud of how inclusive and how equity-based our community is. So I'm not often one to stand up in the middle of a council meeting, but I am here because I care deeply about this project. And I think I have a background and some expertise that could lend to benefit the community on this committee. I'm an ecologist, a botanist by training, and now a landscape architect. I worked on the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for Washington County for 9 years. I also worked for a number of years in the Detroit community, working on brownfield restorations and redevelopment. And I'm not going to say we have a perfect system. What I will say is that it's an incredibly complex technical system, and to do it right in the beginning of the development is very important to make sure that future generations of Ypsilantians and beyond have a safe place to either live on, to use the land, to recreate, or to any other way. So I wouldn't normally be up here stating the fact, but since this is encouraged to introduce yourself, I want to introduce myself. My name is Allison. I'm an environmental advocate in our community, and I would like to bring that perspective onto the community action board if it's helpful to you all. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is River Santos. Some of you may know me. So, the thing that I think really we should be focusing on is building something that's going to help us secure our own community. And firstly, we should be centering the most vulnerable communities here and putting them at the center of this project. So that includes the homeless people, the historically disenfranchised people from redlining or colonization. I do a lot of work with the tenants unions, so I see on a daily basis, just people being displaced by gentrification projects. And from the environmental aspect, I think about this story that my father would always tell me. And he said he would be swimming in the river. And this was back when the paper mill was still in production. And he said that they would have to hop out of the water because they would start to pour the dye in, and it would boil all the water. It would boil all the fish alive. And then you had to wait for the water to cool back down. And you could just see all the crawfish just floating. We absolutely cannot allow this production to poison the land further or be used to harm the community. And that is something that I think is just, it's abominable that some people might do that, but we got to be the ones to make sure that doesn't happen. And we have to come together as a community to give ourselves the tools to prosper. At a time right now, whatever little safety nets we have are being eroded. We have to pull that shit together, create something for ourselves. And this is right in the middle of our community. So if you agree, maybe vote for me.
Hi, my name is Lorenz and I am an Ypsilanti resident. I live in the township, so I'm 2 blocks out of the city line. I am a real estate agent and I have been here about 6 years. I love Ypsilanti. I went to school here and then I left town and I thought about it every single day. And I came back as soon as I could. I think this city is awesome for all of the reasons we've all described about diversity and history and heritage and communal effort, all these things that we love to do. And so I want to be as part of the committee to ensure all of those stakeholders that we've all discussed, as well as the people who are mentioned in the paperwork, their voices are heard. I think this is an awesome opportunity for us to be a real duocracy and to say what we want to say to developers, to give them a proposal of sorts, instead of waiting for them to come to us. This piece of land is important, and we've been talking about the last 200 years, but Michigan Avenue is actually an ancient 10,000-year-old trail. And Water Street is where it meets the Huron River. Like, it's an important place for generations prior and will continue to be for generations after. So the last 200 years of development, and we haven't even touched it in a while, have destroyed 10,000 years of history. So we need to be super careful moving forward, as well as making sure that we're thinking about the people who currently live there in tents, the people who were displaced in the 50s and 60s, and everybody else. I'm running on the committee.
I just wanted to make a quick point. You mentioned that this committee is our democratic voice. And there's a common neoliberal trap where we're told that we can be on a committee that is designed to sell a piece of land to developers. We have much more of a voice, and without community support, if this committee turns out not to speak for the people of Ypsilanti, we will not allow whatever you try to develop. Yeah, we will chain ourselves to equipment, we will tear down, we will monkey wrench. And yeah, you can't tell us what our voice is in how to use public land.
I have a question about the timeline that was put up here, which is that the committee, the people who are nominating themselves online and in person, that you're gonna be following a timeline. Is that timeline legally mandated for those meetings so that everything is decided by August? Because I'm also hearing some very big topics coming into the room, and I'm just wondering if there's room for negotiation around that timeline that's proposed.
So the timeline has been approved. I think that there's certainly opportunity for the committee to request additional time if they need it, and so there is room for that.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Shay. I really didn't want to stay silent. I didn't really want to come here today. I worked an 8-hour shift, but I wanted to come support my friend River. And after hearing everything, I just wanted to offer a bit of insight. I was born over at St. Joe's. I've lived in Ypsi my entire life, but I went to Ann Arbor Public Schools. I was raised mostly around people from Ann Arbor, and I work in Ann Arbor every day. Most of my friends go to U of M. I do not. I can't afford it. I go to WCC. And the only reason I'm up here speaking right now is because of something I heard at work today from one of my coworkers. I work as a receptionist. And earlier, hearing that the ground is poison, no one should develop there. That's probably the truth. Most likely it is. But something that has become very common is when I went to high school, no one wanted to drop me off at my house. I didn't live even close into what people consider deep Ipsy. I lived on Packard and Carpenter. None of the downtown Ann Arbor kids wanted to drop me off at my house. Their parents said no. Now, today at work, I heard one of my coworkers say, we were just complaining about how much rent costs, how a lot of us have had to move back home. I go to a community college. I can't afford to work and I have what's considered a good job. I can't afford to live in Ann Arbor or Pittsfield or even most areas of Ipsy at this point and still go to school and still feed myself. One of my coworkers just said, well, you could always just move to Ipsy. And most U of M students are now, instead of paying the rent prices that are in Ann Arbor, they are coming to Ipsy. They are becoming a part of Ipsy. I have a big heart. I don't want to exclude anyone from being a part of our community, but there's been a really big shift in the past. Even I went to high school only about 6 years ago. You didn't even want to come here, but now it's become a big thing of people moving here, of people now thinking that Ipsy is an okay place to live when it used to be dirty. And when people say that the ground is poisoned, I have no doubt that it is. I feel like if it's really that shitty, why not give it to people? If it's really that bad, give it to somebody that needs it, not like, I know what they're gonna do with that land when they take it. Ann Arbor is running out of space. They don't have any more downtown. They're taking up every inch they can to build new apartment complexes for students, to build new parking structures. They're gonna do the same exact thing here because they want more students going to U of M and they've run out of space for them. And that is a big moneymaker, not only for Ann Arbor, but for all of Washtenaw County, for all of Michigan in general. It's all about what can make U of M the most money. And you have these kids that are coming from out of state and they're running out of dorm spaces. They don't have enough room in the apartment. Those kids can't afford it. Even their wealthy parents, they're like, no, let's just go down the street. It'll shave off a few bucks. So even if the ground is poisoned, I already know what they're gonna do there. If the wrong person buys it, they're gonna build another apartment complex. They're gonna build another parking structure. That's what they're going to do. They've been doing it all next to my house. They just knocked down an entire neighborhood just so that they could build $500,000 condos. And right next to the $500,000 condos, they also put what they call low income housing. Again, not in reality low income. It's low income for Ann Arbor on an Ann Arbor basis. The Ann Arbor basis is completely different. I'm just saying from my perspective, I grew up with these kids. I know these kids and they say it proudly. They're like, oh yeah, we'll just move to Ipsy. We can just say that our parents aren't our main benefactors and they get into low income housing. That's what the plan is for them to do so that they can get their degrees to one day be maybe neurosurgeons, go into business school, be engineers. That's what they do. I know they do it because I see them do it. It used to be the bad place, the place right next to Ann Arbor that isn't quite as good as Ann Arbor. But now they're going to try to merge the two cities. And not in the way that would actually be beneficial to any of us. And I just wanted to give that perspective today. And also, I love my friend River. Please vote for them on city council. I believe in them more than anything.
Yeah, no one is raising their hand.
Come on.
Sorry. My name is Nathan Phillips. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. Lived here in Ypsilanti now for a little while, over decades. Didn't move here on a purpose. We came here from my friend's house in Indiana. We were staying with them because we were homeless. My companion, had a college education, was doing good things. I work too, but get that education, get more money. So we're doing okay in Washington, DC, living and working there. I was going into Congress, talking to senators and stuff. Not working at, but working with people at EPA, different places anyway. Something happened to my companion, couldn't do the things that, made that check come in. So we lost our job, we lost our home, and running around. She got misdiagnosed with something called fibromyalgia, like an arthritis, not arthritic, but painful. And that was a year before we came here. In that time, we were staying with my friend in Indiana. She kept on looking at the computer, seeing what's wrong with them. Getting even worse. There's a research over here at Domino Farms, fibromyalgia research. So we came to see that, They were researching, see if we could get medicine because we're Indians off the reservation, so no health insurance. Before that Obamacare. So we came here, we went to the research and they looked at her and then they said, we're sorry, but you don't have fibromyalgia. We don't know what you got, but we want to keep you till we find out. So 4 days later, University of Michigan Research Hall. Bless all the doctors there, everybody works there, the janitor, everybody there. Bless them all. They found out that she had that bone marrow cancer, and we didn't know what to do. So they got us emergency help and stuff. There's this organization called SOS. I'm kind of like, kind of don't like them. And anyway, they got us a place, over here on Prospect Street. There's apartments up there. We stayed there for a while while treatment was going on. One of those at first, that was, I forgot what month it was, but it was after that we got moved into that place there after a couple of weeks of being in a hotel over there in Ann Arbor. I was walking down Michigan Avenue right there. Let's see, just on the side of the river here. I think that's what we're talking about, this water street, that empty lots down here. So I was walking by there. As I walked by there, a truck went by. Somebody leaned out the door, out the window, holding on and chunked a beer can at me half full. So I could see it, did it like that. Braves forever, woo, woo, woo. And I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that was all about. But apparently that was the first year that the high school had to change its name. And, you know, that had nothing to do with me. I had other things on my mind. I told that my wife had 6 months, 2 years to live. You know, and when that happened, over there was trees, woods and stuff. That always makes me feel better. So I moved myself that way. Sat in there and listened to the ground. Yeah, I had no idea it was brown earth, that brown earth, I guess they call EPA talks about it. I didn't know that. But as I was sitting there, I felt a comfort. I felt like that TV show that was on just recently, Red Dogs, where that young lady was struggling. You know, all her relatives came to her. I felt like that around me. And, you know, it made me remember the first time I came to Ypsilanti, we had to go to the SOS. It was in a blue building down there. And I went that way, came down Michigan, and turned, I think it's Water Street. So turned down there to go to the SOS down there, and I looked in the rear mirror. And I thought I'd seen a bunch of people standing there, just a bunch of people, you know. And I came back out and looked at it, and I said, yeah, you know, just imaginations. That was about 20 years ago, like I said, you know. And we lived here, and I'd walk through there when it was just a dirt path, and just really like having that natural wonder down there. You know, I knew that, you know, that this was a sacred space. You know, when that happened, I went there, I thought that sacredness. But then, you know, I heard the story of it and everything. And then I was told that there was burial grounds. That was at one time a burial ground. I was told a story of it. My people in Omaha were from Nebraska. You know, they had stories of coming out this way. Because that trail that you're talking about, that trail goes, that goes all the way to the East Coast, and that trail goes all the way to the West Coast, that trail. Sometimes it turned into something called I-94 or something, but you know, the 80 something now. But all these highways that you go on, there's old Indian trails, especially these interstates, old buffalo trails. So my people walked here one time, way back there, like they said, in the old days, before the white man came. My people were here. Maybe one of my relatives is buried. I don't know. We don't have that history with us, you know, because we got interrupted. Lives and our development. So this land now, under watch, people are looking at it. Greedy eyes, maybe people wanting something right for it, like myself. I want to see something right for that land. Because I feel like I owe the spirits that are in that land a debt of gratitude because they comforted when I needed it. Right now, they're comforting people over there right now. They got nowhere else to go. They're going through. At one time, that's what happened. People didn't have nowhere else to go. They came, and people were already here. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I do want to talk for the land, the trees that are there. I think some old ancient trees being taken down just recently for the trail. I was asked to come to this meeting tonight, and so I thought I would. They're talking about that land down there. You know, in my work in DC, you know, EPA, there are ways to clean land up like that. It can be cleaned up, it can be done. That takes a lot of work though. But then once you do that work for that land, you turn into some kind of a place of being able to use, you know. Don't wreck it, you know. I do believe that whatever happens there, there should be a recognition of the indigenous people that were here. I do that, you know, I'm not, like I say, my family, my home is in Nebraska. And I suppose if my reservation was as prosperous as some of the reservations around here, I'd go back there, you know. So we're one of the poorest, there's like 500 nations, indigenous nations, and ours is one of the poorest, the top 10 of poor nations. That's us. We're trying to develop, we're trying to do something, but it's difficult. We have to have these kind of meetings too, you know, there. Want to put a roundabout in our place to slow that traffic down. People are dying on that highway that goes through our reservation. And somebody says, where are you gonna get the dirt? So, you know, I will get asked to serve on the committees so that, you know, I can, you know, be there for this. There might be still bones down there, we don't know. I was told that there could be. Had some indigenous people come by one time, it was, you know, a prayer, and they felt spirit's still there. So I would suggest, you know, reaching out to the local folks around here, doing some kind of spirit ceremony, some kind of traditional ceremony. Calling back to spirits, maybe. But so I guess I'll say about that much. Thank you for inviting me to the meeting, Amber, and thank you for folks for being committee, council, watching over us best you can. Okay.
I'm just wondering, because we're approaching 8:30, and I don't know how long we were planning to be here for this meeting, but I'm sure people don't want to be here all night. If the community is amenable to maybe like 15 more minutes or so of comment and pitching yourself for this committee, and then we can move on to straw vote.
We have 2 people online.
Okay, yeah, is there support for that in the room? Okay. We need it.
Okay. Oh, we need a house. I'm gonna allow you to speak. You do need to unmute yourself. Juanita, are you there? And then if Juanita, we'll ask you again. Erica Mooney.
Hello. Hi. You can hear me.
Hello.
Hi.
We can hear you.
Hi. Thank you, Nathan, for speaking, and Lee and everyone else who spoke tonight. And I'm actually calling in from out of town right now, but I am also born at St. Joe's, lifelong resident. I've left and come back a couple times, but very, very grateful to be rooted in the Huron River watershed. And personally, my connection to Water Street started when I moved to Ipsy, which was as soon as I could get out of my mom's house when I was 17. That was in 2009. And currently, I'm a renter on Prospect. I live on the Ridge. That's actually the historic beach of Lake Erie, and our river is one of the first rivers that was formed by the descent or the shrinking of Lake Erie to its current size. And so I look over Water Street, and I live in a building that is probably one of the last private affordable landlords in town, and that keeps me able to be present and be in the community. And I also want to name that, spending time on the land has been a really big part of my life there, and being able to be present in relationships with the land and with people and with community. And one of those was when we had the sculpture garden there, and we had free library, we had art hut. I just wanted to name that there is a bunch of formal and informal organization of information that is not necessarily on the city website. So if people are interested, there is a Water Street wiki page that one of our local artists and archivists made, and a bunch of other sources. There's like a Ipsy library page, some storytelling there. And what I'm really hearing too is that something the committee could potentially do or ask to do or advocate for doing is just like more collective storytelling and figuring out ways to share not just the like technical information that's already present of the analysis of the brownfield that the consultants have done and whatnot, but all the information that we've heard today and other sources. So I want to name my history there with the sculpture garden was a really important pivot point of gathering in community and doing a lot of creative placemaking, art making, relationship building. And that came down in a corrupt way and then really involved in the taking down of International Village, which was obviously very corrupt. And then I helped with Rising for Economic Democracy in Ipsy in writing the ordinance that became the Community Benefits Ordinance. And I'm grateful for the facts Kat brought up earlier, and I would be happy to potentially figure out how to help if that would be a useful framework again to revise the CBO in a public format, because basically we just did what consultants are hired to do, what the city doesn't have the resources to do on their own as volunteers from the community. And I did go to Eastern for planning. I was involved in the climate action plan, the master plan update, and had some really negative experiences from consultants and developers being exploitative and rude, and also had some great experiences of being able to translate from having that training and schooling and some social capital with decision makers and being able to translate that technical language to community members that aren't familiar with that. So I'd be happy to be in that role again. So I feel like I maybe just said a ton of information very quickly, and my heart is beating very fast. I haven't spoken at a council setting in a while. So I'm just going to once again say thank you for this opportunity, and really support that this process too, from what I'm understanding, really does give whoever ends up being on that committee a lot of power to decide, because there aren't existing developers yet, and then there is pressure to sell the land. We could decide, if there is enough alignment on that commission and the work that committee and the work that it does, to say that this needs to be one of our needs, is that it's left in the public trust, that we need a land bank, or we need to give this land back or keep it in the public in some way. I just want to highlight that as a possibility, because as I understand it, this committee would be creating and revising that RFQ. So it's basically like our community designed wish list or need list. It's not like there is a big they of the developer at this time specifically yet. So I know that that's a very real potentiality, but I also know that this is a big step in having a more engaged public participation process, and that we can continue to make that process more robust by continuing to engage and broaden who and how we can all engage. So Thank you.
Thank you.
It sounded like she wants to put her name in the spot tonight, right?
Me? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna apply online.
All right, just wanted to be clear that we knew that.
Thank you, Julia. Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Hi again, my name is Deron Witherspoon. I already spoke to y'all online, but I just want to come through y'all vibe. I don't know much about this stuff like this, but I'm here, I'm outside every day. I got a cold right now, I'm not gonna go inside. I don't know much about the framework of that, but I do know that if you see me here, you're gonna see my community as well. This is my position to be here, but the people, that's what we here to, but y'all can see what I look like. We here, we just kind of stepping out, trying to get to our feet wet and get to understanding what's going on, because this is our community too. I'm from the South Side. The Boys and Girls Club was taken from us. Mecca was taken from us. The Ozone House on Michigan Ave was taken from us. I went to prison. I didn't have nowhere to go. The skate rink was taken from us. Bowling alley was taken from us. So talking about homeless people don't got nowhere to go. Shit, regular people don't got nowhere to go. You don't got, because nobody got nowhere to go. And they take our natural land right here. Like, what are we saying that people from Ipsy? Like, we don't care about no parking structure, because a lot of people I know don't even got a car. But they need to be able to walk somewhere to go have some fun. So like I was saying, I don't know how the process goes, but my organization would love to build volleyball court, basketball court, shuffleboard court, and we would like to get those 30-year-old trees that's growing through the bleachers out of there, down there, and utilize it, because Ipsy Braves only have about 20% of our community on the team, and every other kid gets back to their, more fortunate friends come back and practice, and they just sitting there with so many dreams and aspirations. So my organization is working with a lot of stakeholders in the community to come with the community league, which is wearing black bottoms and black shoes and their regular t-shirts with names. And we would love to use some of that space right there to hold some of our events and sports for the community, that's completely free. If that's not possible, I still want to make sure that we don't let nobody come into our city and do something that the people are not trying to do with our land. Whatever's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. We're here to get our hands dirty, feet dirty, and our backs dirty if we need to. But if y'all really from Ipsy, y'all feel like I feel, I'm tired of people coming here, kicking us up out of here. Everybody that's from Ipsy can't be racist, because walk out of your door, you're gonna see black, white, yellow, brown, Indian every day. We live somewhere where you just don't see a whole different race of people for years and years. So we need to get off that race crap, and we need to get on some, this is our turf of land, this is our 5 square miles, and I'm tired of people coming here thinking they're gonna do something, take something. I'm a felon, so I don't get too radical, but I will put my life on the line and let people know that Ipsy is our home, and we willing to go to whatever extent to protect our home. We're not being quiet no more.
You're applying, right, John?
Yeah, I definitely.
It's like maybe 10 minutes left, so it's people just be mindful of time.
We also have 3 people online who want to speak.
Sorry about that.
Okay, really quick, my name is Lindsay. I love the things that people have said tonight. I'm super confused on what's happening with this. It feels like at the beginning of the meeting, no one in charge knew even the way that we were gonna nominate, which makes me really like Erica's point, and that we should just draft the community participation process in the way that we think it should go. I have been to Cuba many times. I'm a Cuba solidarity activist. And generally, if they have one policy, like the Cuban Family Code, if you've heard of it, the most progressive LGBTQ policy in the world, was drafted with 79,000 meetings.
What?
And it's amazing policy that is supported by the people. It protects human rights and dignity. It is progressive, and it is the model for the rest of the world. But it took 79,000 meetings for one to be reflective of the people's ideas, and also for it to be supported by the people. I know there have been meetings before this tonight, but there was 5. And this one is we're all sharing the most amazing things. I don't know if there's going to be any tether for the committee to have to follow anything that's being said. Is it taking notes? Is it a formal meeting? I know it's being recorded. It was accessible online, but yeah, the idea of this committee being anything close to democracy is just so wacky to me, and that we are settling so much that we think that just 6 people of our community can represent all of these amazing diverse ideas that have happened thus far, and that they have to be boiled down into an RFQ, which is like putting it towards a developer, which again, people have raised, maybe that's not the landing zone for all these ideas. So yeah, I challenge, if we do go through the committee, rewrite the rules and do something that is representative of the ideas that have been here. We can have, the committee that represents the real committee that has 50,000 people for the whole world now. But we need to dream big because like people said, this is our community. I'm not going to say this is my land because we've heard other stories to say that it's really not. But perhaps we could steward in a way that doesn't screw it up. There's a lot of things that can go right. And I wouldn't say that any of those, there's not just one right answer, but there are many very wrong answers on what to do. And I think the way that things are set up, it's going to point towards the wrong answers. And shelter now.
All
right. What's up, everybody? So on this note of what our comrade just said, this is gonna not go well unless people organize around it outside of the 6 to 8, whatever. And so what I have here is a place to put your contact information so that we can all organize around this and make it so that if the city government tries to do something that the people do not want, we can organize around it, as has happened multiple times before. We have stopped multiple developments on Water Street, as has been mentioned, and we will do it again if the government tries to do something that the people don't want. For those who are online, I have a connection at a little local grassroots news source called What's Left Ipsy. And if you are online and you would like to join in this group of people to figure out how to organize around this process outside of this, go ahead and email what's left Ipsy at gmail.com. It's WHATSLEFTYPSI at gmail.com. Duran's going to help out. We're going to make sure this happens correctly. So I was thinking about applying, but I think there's plenty. I would really say that we should have somebody who was part of the crafting the community benefits ordinance on here, apart from all the great representation we've been seeing. So I really support Erica for that reason. Cool.
I think we have time to have you come speak, and then we have the 2 people online, so.
Yeah, I'll make it quick, but since I came out and got to see all you lovely people, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth. I live across from this land on River Street. I've lived in the area about 10 years. I wish I had been more involved up until this point, but I had a little baby this year, so I'm just starting to emerge into the wild again. And so anyway, I have a lot of personal interest in like having it be a space that my children can participate in and meet their community in. I would really love that for them and for the community at large. Not just because my kids are really cool, but also because the community is really cool. I, like Brian, I was thinking about applying, and now that I've heard from all of you, I'm not really sure that I will, because I think my thoughts, opinions, whatever will be well represented. But if I change my mind, Angela's better, I don't know. You've been all really wonderful to hear from.
You can get on the list that's.
Sure, yes, I'll write my name down. And so you'll know who I am, I guess. But I mostly wanted to introduce myself because it's really nice to come out to community meetings and actually meet people at them.
Thank you. Next we have Olivia CH. You are allowed to speak.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's that's a leftover of my child. My name is James, James Chestnut. And I'm a father, maybe first and foremost, but I'm an architect. I'm a licensed architect in Michigan, a licensed builder, a city resident in Ward 2. I also volunteer on the Historic District Commission. And I want to frame how I could add value, and I will apply online to this particular team from an architect's perspective, and the importance of and the power that lies in a meaningful architecture that represents its site in a way that's sensitive, um, respectful, positioned, and powerful. So I put a lot of weight in the architectural content and how and the power it brings to any given site. And programming that piece of architecture looks to the site. Um, so in early design, a good concept that drives and holds a thread throughout the entirety of the architectural process and design process begins with a lot of the ideas that have put onto the table from the group that's in the room right now. I'll say, and I'll be quick here because I think we're running out of time, but that's where I land. That's where kind of in a very transparent way I could add value to this particular group. But I'll also say I've worked a long time to be a voice at a table that inspires confidence, that's calm and yet principled. So you know, while it's important to have voices that are highly positioned and they take that tact, some that are highly reserved. I like to land right in the middle. And I think that adds the best value to these types of groups. So I'm gonna put my application online. My name's James, and yeah, I appreciate the time and all the voices in the room as well.
Thank you. 1 second. Nicholas, I'm gonna ask you to speak in a second. There you go. You can unmute now, Nicholas, if you're still there. Yes. I've asked him to unmute 3 times.
There we go.
Hello,
can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, sorry about that. Thank you all for listening to me. My name is Nicholas. I'm new to your town. I was not born in your hospital, but I love Ypsilanti and I respect all the people who have lived here long before I have. I just wanted to say a couple words and I'll be very quick. I have my watch set, so I'll be very quick. I think it's really important that we respect this land, as everyone has been saying, and I'm 100% on keeping the developers out and having the community have a larger voice in this. I just want to say on a positive note that, like the lady who was saying that she's worked with brown sites before, that I have worked with friends in Hawaii. We have cleaned up properties that were used for sugarcane and were completely destroyed and now are organic farms. So it's 100% possible to turn the soil around. I appreciate the gentleman who was speaking of the history of the soil and what had happened to it. And I'm not saying that that's not there. I'm just saying we can make it better. We can definitely make it better. And that's all I have to say. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Thank you. All right. Does anyone else want to speak before we close this section? Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Walt Swanson. I used to teach design and furniture making in the UK for 20 years. Now I've been working with kids in downtown Detroit, trying to teach them some basic construction skills. And I think this talk about getting away from developers, that there are programs where high school kids learn how to build houses by building houses. And it's done all over the state, it's done all over the country. And I think that's a system that should be considered. There's a community colleges teaching that, and hasn't IPSI just gotten passed a bill to allow more technical training? That did get passed. I was out of the country when that went. So I think there's potential to build affordable housing with locals in the community that's also part of the education system. And in the UK where I lived, there was also a system, and I don't know whether it exists here, where you cannot get affordable housing unless you are, number one, under a certain, below a certain income. And then the affordable housing is at an affordable rent, or rather purchase price, because you actually buy it. When it comes time to sell it, you're limited to what you can sell it for, because it has to have that ceiling as well. And it also needs to go to somebody that is not just below income, below a certain income, but also has been a resident in the community for a certain number of years. And you have to demonstrate that. So it's not somebody who's talking about, you know, the rich college kids coming in and getting the affordable housing. There are systems, at least in the UK. I mean,
They do.
They do.
100% do.
They-
I have multiple people, they can be a resident of this town for a certain amount of years. They do not put their parents as beneficiaries. They do not have jobs. So their income rate, very, very low. They qualify for that housing. I know multiple people who lie on the form. No one checks it.
Well, I
They
mean,
get
that
out there.
that depends on, that is then incumbent on the vetting process.
And the
that needs to
vetting
be
process
tightened.
is completely messed up.
Sorry?
It's completely, the vetting process is completely broken, and I
Well,
don't know,
okay,
in a decade.
let's fix that, I suppose is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Let's fix that, and identify where the problems are and figure out how it goes. Because, yeah, somebody's always gonna try to game the system. If we can figure out ways to block that gaming, then perhaps we can get affordable housing.
Yeah.
So towards the end, I got a little bit confused, but I think that we can, informally do the straw poll with the names that I have, and if there's other folks that I can capture, we can. One each week, I would. Walt, do you want to be considered?
No, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, I have 11. So I will start, and I apologize, I don't have all last names because, everybody didn't say them, but yes.
That's a quick question.
Yeah.
During the meetings of this committee, will we be allowed to read public comment?
Yes, yes, all of the meetings will be, open public meetings.
So is this straw poll determining anything actually, or is it completely informal?
It's informal.
It's informal, but it's data that will be used.
Okay, and so then this will eventually be used to select the 6 to 8 community members that has to be approved by council.
The council will take that into consideration when making their
But
determination.
also the community can use it as a top, like, as a way to help fight with, if they don't do something that's popular, then they'll be like, what the fuck?
It's all the other previous CBO, committees, the people that were top selected did make it on. That's precedent.
At this next meeting where we'll have public comment, will it continue to be draconianly restricted? Will we have to listen to Jen complain about how it's draconianly restricted yet again for another meeting?
Unfortunately, the public comment only got extended 15 more minutes, so it's 60 minutes total. And there's only public comment at the end if there's more people signed up that didn't get to speak. So that's how it's set up right now. But there's plenty of pressure to change it, and I support that personally. But anyway, Russell, time.
All right, so, Nathan.
Wait, you gotta tell us how it works.
So I think that we can just do a simple raising the hands and then we can count.
Yep.
What's
Who's raising their hands?
We vote for everyone? Yeah. There's no.
Yeah, I don't think that there's rules about like that we can only vote for peers.
Like, did you identify yourself?
Yeah, I forgot.
If you're.
Sure, yep.
Can't wait till we can do instant choice, instant rank voting. or
Yeah,
whatever
right.
it's called.
Also, a couple of people on Zoom, can we allow them to, can we see if they can raise hands if they're still there?
Who needs that?
So we have
People just raise their hands.
people are raising their hands, so we have 3 people who have raised, 2 people that raised their hand, so.
You stand up so everybody can see you.
So I'm gonna lower everyone's hand, oh wait,
11 people have nominated themselves, yeah.
They've already, they've already, eventually.
okay, so I lowered everyone's hands to start fresh, and so we're gonna start with Nathan, raise your hand.
Those of you online, if you want to participate, raise your hand as well. In the voting.
15. And. Okay,
What did you get, Joe?
15.
No, there was 17.
Okay, some people are raising and lowering their hand, so I counted, but 17 is fine.
I'll help you. Hold those hands high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Your hands are up, keep them up.
Okay, I got 15.
Okay.
Nobody.
15.
Nobody online?
No.
Nobody on the line.
All right. So now we're gonna go to the next person.
Jim Clark. Raise them high so we.
Raise them high. I need everyone to put your hand up. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4,
Jim's
5,
the guy who I
6,
can
7,
leave
8, 9,
Yeah,
10, 11, 12. Okay, I counted 12.
Okay. Diana Gonzalez. Who also had support from Heidi. I don't.
1, 2,
Okay, so
3,
spelled
4,
out for her, yeah.
6. That would be 6. Okay.
Plus
Wait.
I
I
plan-
plan 6. There's one who left earlier.
Okay, yeah.
2, 3, 4.
But I mean, so people are raising and lowering their hands. Oh.
8, 9, 10, 11.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll do 11.
Oh, and 12 online.
There's one more on. Elka Chamberlain.
Rick, who's out there?
Oh, yes, sorry, if you're here.
1, 2.
That's what I got.
All right, Allison Kruger.
That's me.
That
was me.
You can vote for yourself.
1,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, 17. I counted 17.
17. For who?
Allison.
And then River Santos. And had one support from Shay as well, so unless we count Shay twice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16.
Around Witherspoon.
That's right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Got a hand on this.
Oh, and that's all.
Where?
This is fine.
Oh, it's lowered. Mr. Fox, if you meant to raise your hand for that one, will you please do it again? There's a button on Zoom that says raise hand.
All right, Erica Mooney.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
There's
13,
definitely-
14.
If people are more friendly. Keep them up.
Keep up.
That's the young lady that said she wrote the stuff 6 years ago.
No, that's Kat. That one.
15.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next one.
What was that number?
15.
Lindsay is who I vote for.
No.
I'm not done.
You're not,
Okay.
okay. And then, so then
James.
James Chestnut,
That was the last guy that spoke.
that was online.
The architect.
Name didn't match the voice.
He was the architect of HDC.
Yeah, the name didn't match the voice. Olivia or something, whatever.
It was online.
He was online.
He had his daughter's name on there, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8. So, okay, thank you.
And then, I have Nicholas. The last speaker who works in Hawaii.
Oh, that's the guy. Okay, yeah.
Wait, oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9.
Is there any names that got nominated or nominated themselves and that I didn't call off? Lawrence? Oh, yeah, I didn't, you're right, so, sorry. So there was 2 non-residents that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
The one was Cynthia Price, somebody brought her name up.
Yeah.
And that was just a nomination that she didn't ask to be nominated, so I don't know if we vote on that.
She did, in fact, have to be not, she offered that as possible.
Okay, great, so let's,
She just helped.
Cynthia Price.
She's doing other work.
Okay, great. Thank you. For clarifying.
Yeah, she's not.
She's in Ann Arbor, but she does a lot of work.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
And then the other was Lauren.
Oh, there was one online too.
Oh, there was online. There it is.
14.
Yes, and then Loretz. And I have, they're out.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
They were with state agent, they were having
9.
Organizer.
I'm counting 9.
long coat.
There are 2 blocks outside. Oh.
10 with Diana. Okay, 10.
Okay.
All right, well, it is 9 o'clock, and that's typically the time length for one of these meetings.
On the application, either the hard copy today, or you can do it online,
Yeah.
tomorrow or anytime before that date,
If anyone wants me to, we print out some, they're upstairs. I can go grab them, so please wait here after. We're not kicking everyone out right away. But thank you.
Can I say something real quick? I have one more nominee. I'm so sorry, but someone Andrea Pierce asked to be on it, and
I mean, so not everyone who's going to be nominated, like people can still nominate themselves. So anyone can still go online and nominate themselves. Well, and we have lost some people now.
can we do a quick poll for the head of the Anishinaabe caucus, Andrea Pierce, who is an out of towner? Throw those hands up for Andrea Pierce, please. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Plus 2 more.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
I nominate the Grinch.
The sign up sheet is still outside. Joe, I'm so sorry for interrupting.
No, I know. I mean, no, you're all good to go. If you want to wait, I can go grab the printout applications. However, there is an application online.
here's one right here.
So if you have bad handwriting, as I do,
Thank you for the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
we have a couple of these. If you would like to do a in-person application, you can.